So, what's the purpose of a bluff? In poker, is to deceive the opponent by betting or raising with a weak hand, making them fold stronger hands. In negotiation, is to create a false sense of strength or resolve to influence the other party's decision. In sports, to fake an action or move to gain an advantage or deceive the opponent. In military strategy, to create a false impression of true strength and intention to deceive the enemy. In everyday life, to assert oneself or create a false impression to achieve a goal or protect oneself. So bluffing is pretty much something that happens all the time. And the way that people bluff you, they bluff you, one, to test your strength, and two, to deceive you that they are more attractive or that they have more resources than you think they do. So as a result, you succumb to them because they're bluffing. And people bluff you generally to test your strength. They bluff you to hide their weaknesses and to make you think that they are more confident, that they have more options, and that they're more willing to walk away than you are. That's the whole point of that, to create an illusion. And we all do it to a certain extent. Some people are more toxic than others. But we're going to talk about how they do that and how you can counteract that and how you can actually reverse it through one strategy that's really powerful. Actually, two strategies I'm going to teach you. And we're going to be watching an example of in the animal kingdom of how animals call out bluffs and how you could do it and how animals actually react in a very similar way to humans react. And then towards the end, we're going to be using the book, The 33 Strategies of War, to talk about one strategy, which is called defeating them bite by bite, which is how most people usually manipulate you, how most people usually take away at your self-esteem, and how they use you for self-esteem at your cost. It's going to be really powerful. And the reason why they're testing your strength is because most likely you have sent signs of weakness. They feint at you to see if you will retreat and run. Then they get aggressive and start chasing. It's like an animal, right? It's like a gorilla, right? How they say gorilla charge you to bluff you. Gorilla charge you to intimidate you. But they say that if a gorilla charges you and you don't bluff, and you don't feint, and you don't react to his bluffs, what happens is that you start to see the reality that he's trying to hide. Let me give you guys an example. This is what pretty much people do to you when they assume or when they think you're the one that's putting on a facade. When they sense signs of weakness, this is what people do pretty much.
Charged and charged and charged again. And I think
what they say is that when somebody charges at you with a bluff, what you have to do is do the complete opposite of what your instincts tell you. And that's do nothing. Do nothing. And the reason why doing nothing is the strategy is because when somebody's bluffing you, your lack of reaction reflects to them the truth that they're also bluffing, and reflects to them that most likely you're not reacting because maybe there is something behind you. In other words, maybe you believe that you might have something that backs up your confidence. There's a reason why you're not reacting. There's a reason that you're not over pursuing, because most likely you have that type of confidence. So once they sense that you're not reacting to their bluffs, what happens is that people all of a sudden get passive. Right? They either get more aggressive because they don't think that maybe you're faking confidence, or they start acting more passive because they realize it didn't work this time, but now they don't want to lose you, right? Now, why do they do this? Well, first of all, they use deception as a strategy, right? At its core, bluffing is a form of deception aimed at manipulating the perception of others to the bluffer's benefit. It leverages theory of mind, the ability to understand that other people have beliefs, desires, and intentions that are different from one's own. By misrepresenting one's position or intentions, a person can influence the decision and behavior of others in a way that is advantageous to them. Another reason why people bluff is psychological warfare. Bluffing can be used to destabilize opponents or competitors by creating uncertainty and confusion. In a strategic game, sport, business, negotiation, causing others to question their perceptions and strategies can provide a significant psychological edge. So even if they're willing to walk away, you let them walk away, right? Sometimes when people bluff, they become difficult. They yell. They are pushy and demanding, right? They get aggressive. It's like that Russian girl that I told you about who the first few times she would text me screaming, like she was like, "Hey, what the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with this girl?" And I'm like, "What is wrong with her?" And she did it like a few times, and after like the third or fourth time, I was like, "Yo, calm the fuck down. Don't talk to me that way." And she was like, "Oh, my fault, my fault, my fault. I'm just saying, you know." So that she was super aggressive. As soon as I was like, you know what, man, this girl's out of her goddamn mind. I'm not dealing with this shit. I called her out on it. And what happened then is that she just got more passive. She was like, "Oh, my fault, my fault." And I'm like, "Look, man, you talk to me one more time, you're leaving." I remember telling her that. I was like, you talk to me like that one more time, you're getting the fuck out, right? I was like, "Don't look miserable." What was it I told her? I was like, "If you act miserable one time, you're going back home." Right? And what she does that because it works, right? She does that because some guys in the past let her get away with the bullshit. You know, they'll test you by being late and seeing whether or not you could tolerate the lateness. They'll test you by calling you names or being disrespectful to see whether or not you're actually going to fight back. Those little things, it's like when dogs eat an animal. It's bite by bite. They don't give one big bite and take a big chunks. No, little nibbles. One bite here, one bite there. And the problems with those little bites is that usually the disrespect that they initially do, that usually escalates over time, are things that you will rationalize and say it's no big deal. They do it and then they do it again, but it's still not big enough to complain about it, but enough for you to notice, but not big enough for you to call it out. So what they do is that they start to play on your conservative instincts to just say, you know what, yeah, but it's no big deal, I guess. I mean, they're nice, you know, that's just dumb. But then once you realize what's going on, once you realize you sort of like tolerated it, it's already too late. It's better to cut it off from the start. Any signs of bickering, any sign of them being difficult, any sign of them sending mixed signals, any sign of them being way too cocky around you, any sign, any glimpse of that, you don't react and you either call it out or you pull away. For example, there is this one girl who I'm texting right now, right? And the first time we met on the date, she was late, 40 minutes late. 40 minutes late, people. And I remember before we went out, I was like, "Hey, before we go, let's," because what happened, she canceled twice, right? Before that, she canceled twice. And it's kind of like she's canceling. It's no big deal, right? Now she's late and you're like, well, but then you start thinking, wait a minute. It's been this, and this. This is like adding up, but it's like small enough to ignore. But when you add it up, it kind of irks you. So she came over. We met. She was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Look, I like you, and I want you." I'm kidding. I was like, "Look, I like you, but what are we doing here? Let's find out. I don't think this might work out." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Look, you canceled twice, and now you're 40 minutes late. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like this. So if you think this is gonna continue, it's better off right now we just cut it off and cut our losses." She was like, no, I swear, this is the last time it's gonna happen. And I was like, "Look, man, you told me that you're a bad texter. You told me that. And I am telling you that I prefer not to date someone who is naturally a bad texter. So if you think you're gonna be Miss Bad Texter with me, let's just get it out the way and just end it right now. Politely, obviously. I don't want to be an asshole. She's like, no, I promise not to do that. Well, the date happened, and she did that shit twice after the date where she canceled, and then she takes 3 days to respond. You know what happened after that? Blocked. But what I'm trying to tell you is that disrespect usually happens in small ways. And really sneaky people know this. And they know that if they just take little bites, you're not going to notice it. But it still inflicts pain, but not the type of pain for you to really complain about if you barely know them, but enough for it to register and to affect you psychologically. Cut it at the bud from the start. From the start. Simply because people start testing you to see how much disrespect you could tolerate, how much bullshit you could tolerate, and this is how they do it. And these are all bluffs. These are all bluffs. They're testing your strength. They're testing your perceived value. They're testing your perceived self-love that you have over yourself. They're testing it. They're trying to make you break your own rules. What you have to do is not react or mirror them. You can either not react or literally do the same shit they're doing to you and mirror them. Because then what that does is that mirroring people infuriates them. But they have to care. Because sometimes if they're bluffing and you mirror them, it works, honestly. If they're bluffing to test your strength and you mirror what they're doing to you, what you'll notice is that they're going to start reacting and they're going to stop the games because they know that you figured them out. But if you mirror them and they don't react to it and they keep doing exactly what they're doing, what that means is that they don't give a fuck about you, but they're just bored and entertaining you. Don't pursue it. These types of people are chokeable motherfuckers. People that you just like hate to know. Like these types of people are the types of people that they just ruin your interactions. So what you have to do is make sure that you have a base of happiness from within yourself. Be so content within yourself that you don't need someone to make you feel fulfilled. And you develop that through developing a meditation practice. You can either purchase my course, Emotional Mastery, or go to a 10-day silent retreat. But fixing that will allow you to deal with uncertainty and confusion without grasping out onto other people for validation and for stability. All you have to do is look inward through a meditation practice, and you'll find the stability that you used to look for in other people who try to freaking manipulate you. And this is how you do it, man. People bluff. And look, if you don't want people to bluff you, then just make sure that you become more at ease with yourself, that you don't tolerate bullshit, that you develop self-love through a meditation practice, develop self-validation through a meditation practice, develop validation through your friends and not through romantic partners, and don't tolerate bullshit from the start. From the start, call them out. If they're acting super interested and they want to go out with you, but they take 1 or 2 days, they're scheduling the dates, right? But they take 1 or 2 days in between response, call them out on it. Respectfully say, hey, Tyrone. Hey, Melissa, look, I want to go out with you, but are you naturally a bad texter? Because if you are, this might not work out. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to do this because people hide behind the fact that they know that if you call them out, they know if you call them out, they can act like the victim and say, hey, you're being too pushy, you're being too needy, you don't even know me to be calling me out on that. If they play that card, fuck them. No, not fuck them. But if they play that card, they're nasty. They're dirty players. They're dirty players. They're the type of person that if you call them out on something that they did wrong, that they'll play the victim. You don't want to deal with people like that. There's just nasty people, man. It's crazy, man. You have nasty daters out there, man, that just ruin it for everyone. And that's why you shouldn't tolerate people like that. All right? Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to myforattraction.org, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to read a part of the book of the 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, where he talks about this strategy and how people use this type of manipulation where they bluff at you as a way to gain power over you psychologically and emotionally.
All right, guys. So I want you guys to check out my online course called Dark Game. That's right, people. Dark Game. And this course is pretty much, I review to you the secret tactics, the secret techniques to create attraction in almost any woman, right? But not just attraction to the point that makes her want to see you all the time, where she's the one initiating all the contact, right? Now, just imagine to be able to keep all of the girls in your life that you lost because of your stupidity. Imagine, and I had stupidity too. Imagine being able to keep them. Imagine being able to have 5, 6 women available to you, wanting to see you. Imagine being able to create intense relationships where they're all doing all the work. People, that kind of stuff does exist, people. Now, I'm not going to promise you that you're going to bang like 40, 50 women. I'm going to promise you that you're going to be able to keep the women you have, that you get with. I can promise you that keeping them will increase with this course. But let me keep showing you something. This course is pretty huge, people. It's a huge course. This course has over 50 videos. 50 videos, right? And some of them you could get for free. If you just sign up, you get free videos, right? But in these videos, let me show you guys the course, right?
All right, guys.
Shit. That's me right there, right? In this video, I pretty much teach you guys how to find your purpose. Right? All this is how to find your purpose, discovering your purpose, right? I teach you guys then about female psychology, all of the principles about female psychology you guys need to understand. I then teach you guys the mindset, the proper mindset that you guys need to deal with women. After that, I teach you guys 21 videos on how to game. I mean, it's pretty much unbelievable, man. I gotta make this available, right? But it's unbelievable how many, I pretty much put everything: outer game, social circuit game, strategies, threesomes, foursomes, everything, right? And on top of that, I give you guys a few bonuses: how to overcome approach anxiety, why you can't take actions, a Dickens pattern to change your mentality, how to go from open to transitions, right? 81 minute long, people. This is like, I don't know how long this is, but this is hours, and I mean hours worth of content. And you get a 30-day money back guarantee. I mean, you without questions asked. All for $99, people. People, this could be around a few thousands, to be honest with you, right? But you guys get it for $99, right? All you gotta do is just go over here, purchase the course, and you'll get access to it. And if you don't like it, you could just message me and get your money back, people. Look, man, don't be hard-headed, people. Don't be hard-headed. This is the course that you guys need, right? It gives you guys everything. I cover everything. I could promise you, man, you're not gonna get a more in-depth course on how to attract women and keep them more than this. All right. Anyways, people, check it out. 30-day money back guarantee. There is no risk, and you can get the free course. You can get the free trial. The free trial are these videos that you get for free, right? You guys could just sign up. You could watch all of these videos for free, right? And you don't have to pay, all right? Anyways, I'll see you guys inside. I want to see you guys inside because, again, people, you can't lose nothing. There's a 30-day money back.
There's a chapter in the 33 Strategies of War that talks about that, and we're going to be listening to it so that we can expand upon what we're talking about. And their chapter is about defeating them. What is it about? I think it's called take small bites. And the reason why is because small bites allows you to harm people without them retaliating. It's a strategy that leaves a lot of people defenseless, especially people who are afraid of confrontation. Watch this.
The empire you want to forge, and then to identify the sense of your objective, aggression. The key to making it work is to have a clear sense of your objective, the empire you want to forge.
So in this part, he's talking about use this strategy to take over an empire, right? But in this case, is people using the strategy to take you over psychologically, to test your strength and completely dominate you over time and create an exploitive relationship.
and then to identify the small outlying areas of the empire that you will first gobble up.
So that means
Each bite must have a lot.
What is the first thing that you can do to test them that they won't fight back in? What is the first subtle form of disrespect that if you could do, that they will notice but not fight back? Listen.
In an overall strategy, but must be small enough that no one must have a loss of the empire that you will first gobble up.
Each
bite must have a logic in an overall strategy, but must be small enough that no one senses your larger intentions.
Enough for them to rationalize it away.
If your bites are too big, you will take on more than you are ready for and find yourself overwhelmed by problems.
Right? So if they disrespect you too obviously, your defenses go up. But if it's a subtle disrespect, your defenses don't go up. And so that will, then you could get, if they keep doing it, then it's enough for them to get used to it. It's almost like heating up a frog slowly, that they don't notice what's really going on.
If you bite too fast, other people will see what you are up to. Let the passage of time masterfully disguise your intentions.
So they disrespect you a little bit today, and time passes. Then you get acclimated. And then they disrespect you in this direction, in that direction. And over time, people will just begin to dominate you psychologically. And it's usually bite by bite.
Give you the appearance of someone of modest ambition. By the time your rivals wake up to what you have consumed, they risk being consumed themselves if they stand in your way. Keys to warfare. The strategy works as follows. Suppose there is something you want or need for your security and power. Take it without discussion or warning, and you give your enemies a choice, either to fight or to accept the loss and leave you alone.
This is honestly so psychologically profound, because what he's saying is that you test a country's strength and a country's resolve by literally taking something from them. Not too big, but small enough, but not too big for them to risk war. And then they have a choice, either fight or become conservative and say, well, it's no big deal. And usually what happens is that they say it's no big deal. And so the time will pass, and then you take another bite. Enough for them to notice it, but not enough for them to want to go full out war for. This is just honestly, it's how people bluff. They want you to notice the pain. They want you to sense the aggression. But because of your conservative mindset, they don't go far enough for you to actually take action.
Is whatever you have taken and your unilateral action in taking it worth the bother, cost, and danger of waging war? Which costs more, the war, which might easily escalate into something large, or the loss? Take something of real value, and they will have to choose carefully. They have a big decision to make. Take something small and marginal, though, and it is almost impossible for your opponents to choose battle.
Yep.
There are likely to be many more reasons for leaving you alone.
Like, for example, you could say, why you don't have to get mad at her taking 2 days to respond. It's no big deal. But if you let it continue, this thought of it's no big deal will create a chain. It will create an exploitative dynamic. And it's one small step each time. Not enough for you to notice how far you've gotten, but enough for you to make progress. It's really sneaky shit, man.
Fighting over something small. You have played to your enemy's conservative instincts, which are generally stronger than their acquisitive ones. And soon your ownership of this property becomes a fait accompli, part of the status quo, which is always best left alone.
That is so profound. That is so true. It's almost like when somebody's in a relationship and they say, why don't you say something, man? They're being disrespectful. They say, well, it's not worth getting into a fight and we're going to have an argument and then I'd rather not. And without them even noticing, they don't notice how much power they're giving away. They don't notice how exploitive this relationship is. They don't notice how far they have gotten from who they really are. Because it's no big deal. They have succumbed to their conservative, like, instincts.
Sooner or later, as part of this strategy, you will take another small bite. This time, your rivals are warier. They are starting to see a pattern. But what you have taken is once again small. And once again, they must ask themselves if
Is it
biting
worth
you
it?
is worth the headache. They didn't do it before. Why now?
So now staying quiet becomes a pattern. Staying quiet becomes reinforced. Staying quiet is something that they are imprinting in your mind, all because you want to avoid conflict.
Execute a fait accompli strategy subtly and well, as de Gaulle did. And even though a time may come when your goal becomes clear, and when they regret their previous pacifism and consider war, by that time,
it's too late.
You will have altered the playing field.
By that time, once you finally choose to leave, once you finally choose to battle, your self-esteem is already lower. They have so much leverage over you. You have such an unwillingness to walk away, and you can sense this person's willingness to walk away, that you have no leverage. It's like removing a limb in order to escape.
So small, nor so easy to defeat. To take you on now entails a different kind of risk. There is a different, more powerful reason for avoiding conflict. Only nibble at what you want, and you never spark enough anger, fear, or mistrust to make people overcome their natural reluctance to fight.
So the way to overcome this is to have no tolerance for bullshit. This whole thing, what the lectures, I posted a status yesterday on Instagram about that, how some people ignore your messages but love your stories. And some people said, the lectures, that's petty. I'm like, no. That's how they get you. They do something enough for you to notice and be annoyed, but not enough to justify a full-blown confrontation. Fuck that. If they like you confronting them will call out their bluff. And if they get offended at the fact that that you're calling them out because they take 2 or 3 days to respond, if they're offended by that, they are a dirty player. They are dirty. They play the victim even though they know they're wrong. Even though they know they're trying to manipulate you. Avoid that person. Fuck them.
Let enough time pass between bites, and you will also play to the shortness of people's attention spans. Reversal. Should you see or suspect that you yourself are being attacked bite by bite, a quick and forceful response will usually be enough to discourage the nibblers, who often resort to this strategy
out of
weakness and cannot afford many battles.
So this is why I'm telling you. It feels like you're overreacting, but you're not. There's a reason why you feel discombobulated when they start acting confusing and in a way that doesn't make sense. Because you are registering manipulation. But rationally, the mind doesn't... They don't want, rationally, you don't want to look too needy, too aggressive, and so you tamp it down, and they rely on that. They rely on that part of your psychology.
If they are tougher and more ambitious, that forceful response becomes more crucial still. Letting them get away with their bites, however small, is too dangerous. Nip them in the bud.
Exactly, and that's why it's an example of posturing. You see that in war, and I'm not gonna talk about the Israeli and Iran. Is it? I don't know which one it is. Anyway, so if you notice, like this weekend, both countries just did attacks just to save face, right? And the reason why is because if you let one person get away with something, time will pass and they're gonna do it again. And because people repeat themselves, whenever they attack again, you most likely will have the same response. And you're not going to be able to think long term. You're not going to be able to think that if you let this happen long term, it's going to happen more. But you don't think that way because you're reacting to the moment. And when you start reacting to the moment, when somebody's playing you, manipulating you, making you stressed, making you impatient, it's more difficult to think long term. Because you're in crisis mode. You got to focus on what's going on now. And they rely on you not being able to think long term, not being able to think 5-6 steps ahead. They rely on you not being able to anticipate and notice what's happening. Because once you notice what's happening, you're already attached. Cut that shit at the source. Don't let them manipulate you. Don't let them play you. If they say you're overreacting, then you say get over that bridge and get the hell out. Anyways, be safe, people. Bye-bye.